From whale puke to bottles of whiskey, I'm Bob from World 5 List. Join me as I count down 16 of the strangest things to ever wash up on the beach. Number 16. An unknown sea creature. Now, this mysterious and unknown dead animal is washed up in two different places in California. The first one being San Diego in 2012, discovered by a 19-year-old snowboarder named Josh Menard, and the second near a drain washout on a beach in Santa Barbara in 2014 after a huge storm had hit the area. The animal's kind of brownish, about 2 feet long, and has very large canines. It also has a fat stomach, and the overall body shape resembles a pig. However, nobody's been able to identify the beast positively. They also have no idea where it could have came from. Have you ever seen anything like this? Let me know in the comments below. Number 15. Hundreds of delicious tea packets. Up next on the list of craziest things ever washed up on the beach were hundreds of tea packets. Boston Tea Party, anyone? In 2010, 9 containers full of tea fell overboard off the coast of India. Unfortunately, the locals had a hard time having afternoon tea on the beach because the tea was also covered in oil from the ship. What a waste of perfectly good tea! I probably know some cheapskate people that still would have drank it. After all, free is the best price. Number 14. A giraffe. Now this find is both sad and exotic. The Army Corps of Engineers found a dead giraffe washed up on the beach in lower New York Bay. An African animal is really the last thing you expect to find in the Big Apple, but sure enough, the poor giraffe had somehow made it there. People speculate that the giraffe probably tried to escape from a circus ship in the 1980s, or maybe even just fell off the ship. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what a circus ship is, because if you're like me, you've never heard of such a thing. Well, it's actually just a passenger ship that's hauling a circus around since they travel everywhere around the world. So do airplanes, but I've yet to see an entire circus on any of my flights. Just imagine a monkey sitting next to you. Wouldn't that be awesome? Number 13. Shoes. In 2006, 500,000 shoes washed up on a beach in the Netherlands after a container ship lost its load. Though hundreds of thousands of shoes on the beach is quite the sight to see, it's also a big cleanup project. Goods washing up on the shoreline is really nothing new for the area. In fact, that particular area has such a history of random things washing ashore that a lot of the local houses are built from the wreckage, driftwood, and other beach treasures. I bet a lot of the locals let the shoes sit in the sun for a while and then simply added them to their closet. I know that's what I would do. I mean, a lot of them were Nike. Number 12. A giant eyeball. But first, be sure you're subscribed if you're new here, and let us know what the strangest thing is that you found in the comments below. In 2012, a mysterious object washed ashore. Photos would spread all over the internet, which then went into a frenzy. Scientists were baffled until someone finally came to the conclusion that it must have been an eyeball. It would be the size of a grapefruit, and scientists eventually figured out that the giant eyeball actually came from a swordfish, which can get up to over 12 feet long. Now, it definitely does make sense that an eyeball that big could come from something almost as long as a car, right? Number 11. A sailor's leg. In 2011, a group of people on vacation in Cornwall, United Kingdom were playing cricket on the beach, and that's when they discovered quite the surprise. Their driftwood bat, which they found on the beach, well, it wasn't a bat at all. It was actually the leg bone of a shipwrecked sailor from 300 years previous. It took them a while to figure it out, but I think that would end the game pretty quickly. Whoever was holding it probably just threw it aside. Number 10. 100 live bombs. In 2011, the world would experience extra high tides due to the supermoon. On a beach in the UK, the tide fueled by the supermoon would wash up 100 live World War II bombs. Now, that would be a dangerous sight. No worries, however, because the Navy was able to locate them and detonated them right then and there, so no harm was done to beachgoers. Though that's not the only time that bombs from that war have been found on the shore. In Wales, some kids trying to have fun at the beach thought that they were playing with an old buoy, but it actually turned out to be an unexploded bomb from World War II. How crazy is it that all these bombs are just floating up about 50 years later? Number 9. Message in a bottle. Alright, so that was my terrible attempt at the police. However, in 1784, a Japanese sailor was stranded on a Pacific island after his ship wrecked. Before he died on the island, he did what he should have done in the very beginning, though it still might not have saved him. That's because he wrote a message in a bottle, and the message in the bottle washed up 151 years later. It took an extremely long time, but it wasn't your typical message that washes up on any random beach. His bottle washed up in the same village where he was born. How's that for coincidence? Or even a creepy occurrence? Number 8. Ambergris. In 2013, a lucky dog walker found a 6-pound lump of ambergris on a Lancashire beach. So why is the dog walker so lucky? And what the heck is ambergris anyway? Well, as it turns out, ambergris is also known as whale vomit, and it has a very pungent smell. That distinct smell is used to make perfumes. Now, as you can imagine, whale vomit is pretty hard to come by. Therefore, the dog walker is fortunate because the 6-pound piece that washed up was worth over $120,000. You never know what people may consider to be valuable these days. Number 7. Mysterious feet. Beachgoers in British Columbia are making some grisly finds. While looking for seashells, you might come across a severed foot, with the foot still inside a running or hiking shoe, and no one knows where they're coming from. Over 16 reported severed feet have been discovered so far on the beach, but the unfortunate part is that detectives don't know why they're washing up there. Many of them are reported to belong to suicide victims, but others suspect foul play. All in all, it's really difficult to determine. Number 6. Doritos. In 2006, beachgoers would be rewarded with a delicious snack. Thousands of Doritos washed up on the Outer Banks in North Carolina after a shipping container got stuck in a storm. The locals ate everything they could, even filling up trucks with different flavored bags. Even with the locals ravaging the containers, when the National Park Service finally showed up, there was still plenty left for everyone. One of the bags was even saved for the graveyard of the Atlantic Museum, where the great day will always be remembered. Number 5. CUPPA Joe. There is a large percentage of us that just can't go without our cup of coffee in the morning. But what if you went for a walk on the beach and then discovered thousands of fresh cans of coffee covering the shoreline? Now, personally, I would probably become like one of those guys you see over in Thailand or somewhere on the bicycle with a house load full of goods. And beachgoers in Brevard County, Florida in 2015, after the ocean gods had granted them with fresh coffee washed up on the sand, claimed all that they could. Now, it's no surprise that the beach was cleared of coffee in just a few hours, because who can say no to free coffee? I know not me. Number 4. 100-year-old whiskey. In 1901, a ship named Stuart would be shipwrecked as it set off for New Zealand, carrying thousands of bottles of whiskey. Luckily, the captain and crew escaped without injury, but they lost all the valuable cargo. In the months afterward, many of the bottles would end up washing ashore. However, some of those bottles are still being washed up onto the coast of northern Wales in the UK, even to this day. Any of you whiskey fans should be on the lookout, because it may just be your lucky day. Number 3. E.T. Margaret Wells from Hampshire, UK was the unfortunate victim of an E.T. robbery. Her custom-made, life-sized replica of literally E.T. the Extraterrestrial would be stolen from her home in September of 2011. However, she always knew that E.T. would make his way home. In January of 2012, some locals from Old Portsmouth called the Coast Guard about a body they had spotted off the coast. When the supposed body would be recovered, rescuers soon realized that it was just E.T., and they gave him back to Miss Margaret, who said that even though he had lost a finger and was just a little bit roughed up, that she knew he would come home with a smile on his face. Number 2. Silver bars. Though the next one technically didn't wash up on the beach, it's still something strange to be in the water. In 1903, a barge capsized in the harbor between New Jersey and Staten Island. So what's so crazy about that? Well, the barge was carrying over 7,500 silver bars. Only 6,000 of them were ever recovered, so that means that there's still over 1,500 underwater. The location is unknown, but if ever found, could be worth about $26 million. A lot of people have tried to search, though no one's ever located it. So what do you think? Do you want to join me and give it a try? Number 1. Cocaine. A mediocre dealer in the UK also hit the jackpot when he discovered bags of cocaine and cannabis on the beach. Word would spread and he would be arrested after he bragged about his find, like a moron, trying to impress a woman. Authorities believe that the bags are often tied to buoys off the coast by smugglers, who then go back and bring them in small batches with boats in order not to attract attention. The same thing would be found on a Florida beach as well, but at least whoever dropped them put the bags into backpacks. Police were the ones who found this stash, and they said the bags could have come from basically anywhere. Thanks for watching. What did you think about these finds? And tell me the things that you found at the beach in the comments below. Remember to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I'll see you next time on World 5.